Folks, welcome to Paisa Paisa. I'm your host Anupam Gupta, B50 on Twitter, and this is the Family Office Special. Yes, this is a topic I've always wanted to cover on my podcast because family offices is a very unique proposition that's offered to high net worth individuals and ultra high net worth individuals, and it's something that's evolved over the last 5-10 years. And I'm really thrilled to have one of the oldest players in this business. My guest is Raj Mohan Krishnan, principal founder and managing director at Entrust Family Office. Really thrilled to have them. Why? Because Entrust is among the earliest SEBI registered investment advisors. And I'm going to let Raj Mohan give us an intro into his own background and the original concept behind Entrust and how it was founded. So Raj, welcome to Paisa Paisa. Thank you so much for doing this for our listeners. Over to you for an intro.
Hey, Anupam, fantastic to be part of the show. In fact, I've heard a lot about you and the show.
Thank you.
And really happy to be part of this and really happy to contribute for the show.
Sure.
So, in terms of to start with, in fact, I was part of the founding team of Kotak Wealth Management way back. I joined them in 1999 and I moved on. From initially, I joined in Chennai, then moved to Bangalore, then moved to Delhi. At some point of time, I was almost handling more than 50% of their business.
Wow.
And at some point of time, you always feel saying that, hey, are you adding kind of any value to the client? Because what happens is when you work for a very large kind of an organization, you tend to manage a large set of clients, large set of, people, and it becomes more a man management than actually you do any kind of a value add to a client. And that is where the seed got germinated because Entrust got germinated because I was thinking, why not start something which is very, very client centric and client aligned and offer everything, meaning as a bank, you can offer only wealth services, meaning in terms of managing investments, but the kind of vagaries, the kind of the day-to-day numbers you'll have to chase doesn't permit you to actually get deeper into a client relationship. So that is where Entrust was born. We thought saying that it's a kind of an ideal platform which we can offer to some of the affluent clients, a discerning lot, which is in India and which is growing. And we thought saying that this could be a kind of a great opportunity. And that is when we said saying that, so that family office was there because I was also part of some of the discussions which happened between Kotak and McKinsey to set up a kind of a family office. And I was also part of many discussions and I understood a little bit about family office from there. But typically, if you ask me, a corporate with a kind of a huge number target behind, it's very difficult to get a family office in place. You can't because family office has to be a boutique. It can't grow. It can't become bigger because the more and more bigger you become, somewhere you compromise on the quality of the service what is being offered to a client. So if you start growing this business like how you grow a wealth management business, somewhere you start diluting the proposition. So that is when we decided saying that we want to remain a boutique. We want to offer the service to select clients who understand the role of an advisor, who want somebody on their side to manage their affairs, be it investments, be it tax planning, be it real estate, across the spectrum in terms of whatever is overwhelming for them, and they want to continue doing what they are good at or what they weren't passionate about, and they want all this mundane routine kind of a jobs to be given to an expert who will offer these kind of services to them. It's a very, very long-term business. It is not something which you start today and probably see some kind of a growth tomorrow. So and over the last 7 years we have grown very slowly, very steadily, and today we work with a very close set of clients across Bangalore. Of course, Bangalore is our headquarters. Chennai, Mumbai, Delhi, and Cochin.
Sure. It's very interesting that because you're the first guy that I've met on my show, that I've got on my show, that I get this feeling, this idea that this is not an AUM business, whereas if I'm typically, say, talking to an individual advisor or to a mutual fund or even to a startup platform that aggregates mutual funds, it's all about getting your trying to get more clients, trying to increase your AUM and scaling the business that way. Whereas what you're saying, very unique, is that you'd prefer to be with a select group of clients and have close relationships with them and be a boutique outfit. So just to get more perspectives on this very unique clientele, so to say, can you tell our listeners what exactly is a family office? Because back in 2013, I don't think this concept was, or probably it was very well known, but it was being addressed by other people. It could, I don't know, could probably be addressed by wealth managers of, say, NBFCs or banks, or I don't know how things were done. So could you just give our listeners a landscape of how this entire industry has shaped out, right? Because I'm guessing that today, if I look at the aggregate AUMs of all family offices in India, pretty sure it runs into billions of dollars.
Okay, so here you go. So the family office is a completely new concept to India, but I want to just take you back to some large family offices internationally. Take the Rockefeller family office. Take the Melinda Gates Foundation, which is Bill Gates family office. You can go into Mark Zuckerberg's family office. So these are offices of the large ultra HNA families. These are personal offices of large families. These are extensions of the family, which takes care of their interests. When you say interests, it could be philanthropy, it could be investments, it could be their interest in real estate, it could be their interest in art, it could be their interest in social investing. It could be anything for that matter. It depends on the head of the family or the what do you say the main members of the family, what they think their money should deliver. The money should multiply, or the money should probably be used for a better, for creating a better world, or to what do you say make kind of a multiply and make big returns, or have an impact in the society by creating more and more entrepreneurs, by setting up, by putting money into startups. So this is an extension of the family. So that's how this family office came in. It's a very abused word today in India because everybody, Tom, Dick, and Harry, call themselves a kind of a family office. I'm
Okay.
sorry to use this, but seriously, it's not that way. It is basically because family office is you need to understand what the family mean, what money means to the family, what the family wants their money to be at,
Mm.
and what it all means. Like, for example, what is the kind of lifestyle the family wants to achieve? Do they want to be subdued? Do they want to buy an aircraft and probably fly? What do you say? There's nothing wrong. Basically,
Yeah,
see,
no.
everybody's philosophy is different.
Yeah.
Okay, and that you need to understand the family quite well. Like there are a lot of families who saying that my job, I've made this money because I've built a company and there are people who supported me to build this company, and I want to create entrepreneurs. I want to help entrepreneurs. I want to invest into startups, mentor them, and make sure that these guys become billionaires. So this could be the philosophy. So there
Yeah.
could be a family who saying that, hey, I made a lot of money and I want to give it back to the society. I've got 5 causes. Okay, it could be what do you say, kind of like, for example, Bill and Melinda Gates. They work very much on poverty, very much on cancer, very much on various what do you say, kind of a causes. Okay, somebody will work on water, somebody could work on governance, somebody could work on what do you say, elderly care. There are many causes in which people want to work with. So understanding the family's mission, the legacy, what they want the money to be there, money to do, is very important to be doing this family office as a business.
Yeah.
So that means that how many families one can manage?
Yeah.
Can you do this as a commodity?
Oh, I don't think
And
you.
and one more thing very important is like typically, what if suppose you start a family office company and you start signing up more and more and more and more clients. You take private equity to grow. So what happens tomorrow? So will you? So what? Why private equity guys are investing into this company? Because they want to see returns. So at some point of time, you are trying to sell this company. So the family has come because they trust in you. They trust in what you bring into the table. They trust the organization because they relate to you. Okay, and they're exposed naked to you. They've told everything about them. And suppose tomorrow this firm gets sold to somebody else, what happens to the what do you say? All the trust which the family reposes on you. So family office has to be boutique, has to be small, has can't grow disproportionately.
Very interesting. I was, in fact, I was just wondering, and I'll probably come back to you with this question on the second part, on the other side of this break. But just before I go, Raj, I want to just understand the scope of services and probably the expertise that you offer to your clients, because as you said, this is about someone who, say, sold his startup and he's probably sitting on, I don't know, maybe say $100 million out there in Bangalore, and he doesn't know what to do, and he would come to you. Now, obviously, that's a very different proposition from, say, the average questions that I get, which is, which mutual funds should I invest in? So tell us, Raj, what is the expertise that you guys bring to the table as compared to, say, maybe your previous role, maybe an investment banker or a wealth manager or a large bank or anything that would help our listeners understand the kind of value that you add to your clients?
So it's like this: a family office can be an amalgamation of services, or you can be a kind of a conglomerate of all the services. It depends on how do you want to build it. I would like to very clearly focus on interest and how we have built it. Okay, so we started off as an investment advisor because all of us are bankers. Like here, I want to bring in Shashank because Shashank joined us. He's a co-founder of the firm. He joined us 1 year later when interest was started, and he has got humongous experience in managing equities and also an expert in terms of the field of unlisted investments. So, and Shashank and me go a very long way. We have worked like more than like brothers in our previous kind of an organization. We respect each other for what we bring into the table, and we decided saying that, hey, why not we what do you say, work together and offer our expertise to the clients. So when Entra started, we started as an investment advisory firm because most of us, like we knew or we hired, were all specialists in terms of investments because either they came from Kotak or they came from somewhere else. They all of them had experience, very deep kind of an experience in investment as a forte. But what we realized as we went by, clients started depending on us more and more. They started saying that, hey, I've got some real estate. Why don't you insure? Saying that you guys sell this or you rent it out, or there's a tenant who has come in. I don't have the time to look into the legal papers. Can you just make a lease agreement? Can you negotiate on my behalf? So once we started realizing, saying that, hey, the clients have started looking at you for other services. As and when the opportunity came in, we started building that vertical. We said, okay, real estate came in, so we started building a real estate vertical. Okay, then what happened was people came in with taxation requirements and accounting requirements. He said, saying that, hey, in fact, we just go to the auditor at the time of March to file our returns, but most of the time we go back and forth. We don't have kind of a proper information, and the auditor keeps asking us questions. I've been extremely busy, and I don't know what is my short-term gains, what are my long-term gains. Like, for example, last year I sold a property. I don't know whether I need the money or I need to pay some taxes. So why don't you guys just take over this and ensure saying that I pay tax appropriately and I don't overpay or underpay, and at the same time my books are kept very neat, and also ensure saying that very what do you say, it's very tax efficient in terms of what we do. So that is when we built a kind of a in-house. We recruited chartered accountants. We said saying that, hey, let us provide this service for the client, and we built family CFO services. And we added taxation to that, and we from time to time we went back to clients and we said saying that, hey, this is the advance tax you're paying, but I think you're paying very disproportionately high because your auditor does not have enough details. So why don't we probably give you the proper details? So clients started appreciating. They said, hey, after you guys coming in, I think things have become more regularized, more organized. I think I'm seeing the kind of a benefit. Then came in saying that philanthropy, saying that, hey, clients started saying, till date, I've been probably giving to my driver's family, I've been giving to my maid's family, and all that. But I have certain causes in mind. Can you just identify some organizations where I can start, what do you say, donating money, or also find out whether some NGOs where you can contribute. And they started giving causes. Like, for example, somebody said disabled, somebody said mentally disabled, somebody physically disabled, somebody could say water, somebody could say, so various causes. So we started working with some consultants. We said saying that we appointed somebody in-house to work with some consultants and identify kind of areas where these guys can donate, and went back to the clients and said, this is the kind of organizations which we are working with. This is on some of them are really good and they're above board, and we have checked their kind of what do you say, the kind of money which is put to use. What is your contribution and how much is going to the actual cost? All that we started giving them. So one by one, it started coming, and clients started depending on us. We started building capabilities. By
Very.
fourth year or fifth year,
Hmm.
we were a full-fledged kind of a family office. Okay, like for example, we had a legal team which could take care of the estate planning, legal services, company secretarial services. We had a full-fledged accounting team which can take care of taxation and accounting. We had a real estate team. We had a completely an investment team, and we also had among the investment team we had a brilliant team for what do you say, exploring startup investments, and being part of the startup ecosystem, where we gave an exposure for the clients to directly invest into startups, where our role will be not only doing diligence on those companies, but also, what do you say, forming part of the being a board observer in the companies, ensuring that the performance of the companies gets reported to the clients, and also added value to the company by probably bringing some kind of an ecosystem. So we have become a complete family office in the year five, just because the clients wanted more and more delivered by us.
Sure. It's very interesting. I'm actually going to get to the specific services on the other side of this break, Raj, because, it just sounds the way from whatever you've told me and help me, understand this right. You actually become like probably a CFO for the entire wealth and fortune of, say, a family, let probably someone who has sold out a stake in his startup of $100 million or whatever the number might be, or an SME that's doing really well. You guys actually go the entire spectrum from tax management to estate planning to every possible thing. Am I right in understanding that?
Absolutely,
Wow.
absolutely. So we go to the entire spectrum, and these are some of the things which are really a corporate kind of a service which I'm talking about. Like for example, if you have real estate, you have CBRE, you
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
what do you say, the large real estate firms, domestic and international, which takes care of that. You have taxation, you have Dhruva advisors, you have some of the
Yeah.
big four who are doing tax advisory to clients. So there are a lot of things which a corporate, like for example, we help clients in relocation.
Mm. Okay.
We help clients in probably doing renovation of the house.
Oh, goes
Like
right
we
down to
identify
that,
the
huh?
architect. Yes, we identify an architect. We supervise the entire work. We keep reporting to the client. Of course, because see what happens is the first point of contact for any client for anything for that matter is family office. I will tell you a very interesting thing. This happened about a couple of years back when a client came back and told me saying that, hey, my daughter has just completed her, what do you say, post graduation, and she's ready to probably take up. I want you to spend some time mentoring her in terms of for the businesses. Also, at the same time, you have a lot of families whom you know, who are like really good top class kind of a families, professional families. Would you also just let me know if there is a nice guy who will probably be ready to marry my daughter? And this is the trust the family has got with the family office advisor. So they come to you with such a request. And so these can't be listed and saying that, hey, family office, these are things which we do. But a family office is a kind of a custodian and a confidant for the family.
Huh, right, that really sounds like some pretty intensive stuff that you guys do for your clients. And I'm going to get into specifics on the other side of this break. Folks, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.